Please stand for the national anthem. Good evening, DG Sonia, fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, partners in service, friends of Rotary and Rotaract. Welcome to our World Polio viewing event. Let's get it started by saying thanks to everyone who showed up today to support our vaccine drive. From all reports, it was a success. I will now introduce Rotarian Joe Johnson to lead us off in prayer. Rotarian Joe.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day. We thank you for the various activities to help our fellow men. We thank you for health. We thank you for strength. We further thank you for the work of Rotary as we take action and as we advocate for polio eradication, and as we lead the campaign to protect the world's children from this paralyzing disease. Thank you for the initiative led by Rotary International over the world and over the past years to eradicate polio. Thank you for the successes that have been made. And dear Lord, let it be that we really look forward to coming to an end of this whole matter of polio and the paralyzing effect it can have. So thank you for the wonderful success that we have been able to gain. Bless all our efforts, the efforts that we will continue to make to ensure the eradication of polio. Thank you for the efforts of the clubs across this nation. Bless the leadership in the clubs. Bless the leadership, dear God, in directions that we can continue to make a benefit to mankind. Bless this evening's event. Bless all of our Rotary friends. And we ask your continued blessing and wisdom upon this event. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I would like to thank Rotarians for your incredible efforts over the decades to eradicate this devastating disease, and to congratulate you, most importantly, on what you have achieved.
Rotarians have a very powerful global voice, and they've demonstrated that time and time again about polio.
Your work matters, and we and the world need you. Every idea and action that you have taken has led us to where we are and where we will be going.
We are proud of our amazing partnership with Rotary. As we near the finish line, the work is harder than ever, and Rotary's support is more important than ever.
We cannot succeed without you. We must stay the course. Together, we can make sure the children of the future only learn about polio in history books.
It's only because of this big global movement, which had Rotary at the very center, that today we're just at the cusp of eradicating polio.
Rotarians, we need you, we really do, to continue to do what you historically have done so well, but to actually tick it up a bit.
Rotarians, you are almost there. This is an exciting, close to success moment for all of us in the world.
If you look at what's made a difference in terms of the progress, often political commitment has been a factor. And Rotary has been key in terms of motivating community leadership, political leadership, to get this job done.
Thank you. We now invite our very own District Governor Sonya Alleyne to deliver her message. DG Sonia.
Thank you, Secretary Ermine. Fellow Rotarians and Rotaractors, good evening. As we observe World Polio Day today, I can't tell you how thrilled and honored I am to be a Rotarian at this time. After starting this journey in 1988, we're now down to 2 cases of wild polio virus in 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan. But we must not give up. It is but a plane ride away. Vaccines have been proven to work, and we must continue the fight. The fight, however, takes money. So your contributions to the Polio Fund, together with funds matched by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, make this possible. As Rotarians, people of action, I'm asking that you consider giving to the End Polio Fund on Rotary.org. Every contribution helps. Today, I was overjoyed to be a part of the Rotary Barbados family at Emerald City, where over 200 people received their COVID-19 vaccines. I'm so pleased that we used this day to make a difference in our community. Thank you, Rotary in Barbados, for your leadership. That's what we need at this time, leaders, and we're the ones that make the difference. As we look to 2026, it is my hope that we'd be saying, thank you, Rotary. Polio has been eradicated. Fellow Rotarians, it is my honor to welcome you to this polio viewing event. And just like me, I hope that you all are thrilled to be here and to learn a little bit more about what we do and what makes us great. Thank you so much, and do enjoy your evening.
The effort to eradicate polio is one of the world's largest public health campaigns. In 2021, fewer cases of wild polio have been reported than ever before. But vaccine-derived polio outbreaks and then the COVID-19 pandemic have added complexity to the campaign. Despite these and other challenges, Rotary and its partners adapt, innovate, and forge ahead. Dr. Hamid Jaffrey is with us from the World Health Organization's office in Amman, Jordan. In the first 8 months of 2021, just 2 cases of wild polio were reported, one in Pakistan and one in Afghanistan. Can you explain why the numbers are so low?
This is truly unprecedented that we are seeing this decline simultaneously in the 2 countries. Why this is happening? I think there are 3 broad factors responsible for this. One is, of course, the resumption of mass polio vaccination campaigns after the interruption due to the pandemic. Secondly, there was a resurgence of polio cases in both Pakistan and Afghanistan, starting late 2018 and through 2019 and 2020. And often we see that a period that follows an epidemic period or an outbreak period, there is induction of natural immunity by the wild polio virus that circulates. And third, we believe that the certain factors associated with the COVID pandemic might have also contributed in an important way. Most importantly, the restrictions in travel and population movement, because the virus moves with people as they are moving. So we are very excited about this window of opportunity, but we are still in the middle of the what we call high polio transmission season, these late summer months. We could still see a further increase. Also, we detect cases in the, detect viruses in the environment. So we could see a resurgence. So this is the time to really press hard in making use of the opportunity that presents itself now.
The Afro region recently reached its 1-year anniversary of being certified wild polio free, 4 years after Nigeria reported its last case of wild polio.
The African region deserves a huge, massive congratulations on this amazing milestone of becoming wild polio virus free. Our current priority now is to protect Africa from the wild polio virus that is now circulating in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and also for Africa to stop the multiple outbreaks of circulating vaccine-derived polio virus.
I know that GPEI just launched its new strategy to end all polio viruses. Why was a new strategy needed?
The previous GPEI strategy was developed in 2018. We saw a resurgence of polio in both Pakistan and Afghanistan, both resurgence of wild polio virus, but also vaccine-derived polio virus. And then we were, of course, hit by the pandemic. So many of the elements of the previous strategic plan were no longer valid. So there was an extensive consultative process that GPI took and came up with this new 5-year strategic plan. Some of the most polio endemic communities are also the ones that suffer from lack of basic health and civic services. So better alignment and integration with other basic health and civic services in a way that the polio program is seen as a more integrated approach to vaccination. There are certain communities where we still miss a number of children, either because there are gaps in the way the vaccination campaigns are organized, or where the communities or have misconceptions about the polio vaccine. So there is social reluctance to embrace. I mean, this new strategy speaks to engaging the communities with new approaches, new strategies, partnering with communities, building new alliances with these communities.
You must find the situation in Afghanistan hugely challenging for the polio program. How do the polio partners work together to adapt in the face of these new challenges?
You know, with the evolving situation in Afghanistan, it is, of course, very, very important that we partners maintain our neutrality and impartiality of the polio eradication program. As always, we will continue to work with all parties. The program is used to adapting operationally in its planning and its communication based on the nature of insecurity, based on the nature of conflict. Currently, we do see opportunities coming up as well, so that we may have access to all parts of Afghanistan for implementing mass vaccination campaigns.
Rotary has been fighting to end polio since 1985. Well, actually 1979 with the first campaign in the Philippines. Is there a message you'd like to share with the thousands of Rotary members who are viewing this program?
Around the world accountable for what we are doing to protect children from polio and how much progress we are making in achieving global polio eradication.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hamid, for your time today, and much more important, for your work in making the world a place that is forever free of polio.
A big, big thank you to all the Rotarians around the world.
Indeed, thank you to everyone. We will now invite President Robin Ford from the Rotary Club of Barbados to deliver his message.
Thank you, Secretary Ermine. As we celebrate World Polio Day, I would like to share with you the history and major milestones of polio. Back in 1894, the first major documented polio outbreak in the United States occurs in Vermont. It is 18 deaths and 132 cases of permanent paralysis are reported. In 1905, Swedish physician Ivar Wickman suggests that polio is a contagious disease
18 deaths and 132
that can spread from person to person, and also recognizes that polio could be present in people who show no symptoms. 1908, two physicians in Vienna, Karl Landsteiner and Erwin Popper, discovered that polio is caused by a virus. In 1916, a major polio outbreak in New York City kills more than 2,000 people. Across the United States, polio takes the lives of about 6,000 people and paralyzes thousands more. In 1929, Philip Drinker and Harvard University Louis Agassiz Shaw Jr. invent an artificial respirator for patients suffering from paralytic polio. It is known as the iron lung. It is still in use today. In 1955, a vaccine developed by Dr. Jonas Salk is declared safe and effective. In 1960, the US government licenses the oral polio vaccine developed by Dr. Albert Sabin. In 1979, Rotary International begins its fight against polio with a multi-year project to immunize 6 million children in the Philippines. In 1985, Rotary International launches Polio Plus, the first and largest internationally coordinated private sector support of a public health initiative, with an initial funding target of US 120 million. In 1988, Rotary International and the World Health Organization launched the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. There are an estimated 350,000 cases of polio in 125 countries. As I speak to you today, as you heard earlier, there are only 2 known cases of polio in the world, one in Afghanistan and one in Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the fabulous work that Rotary International and the World Health Organization has done with regards to polio. Good evening.
Push to End Polio is one of the most complex global health efforts in history. The partners in this campaign have overcome complicated logistics, immunized people in migration, and responded to unforeseen challenges. This is a legacy to be proud of. But we're not done yet. Wild polio remains in just 2 countries, Afghanistan and Pakistan.
मेरा नाम युसरा है, मैं पोलियो वर्कर हूँ। सुबह सवेरे पहले मैं उठती हूँ, नमाज पढ़ती हूँ, उसके बाद घर की सफाई वगैरह करती हूँ। सफाई करने के बाद फिर मैं नाश्ता तैयार करती हूँ। मेरे साथ जो मेरी वर्कर है वो मेरे पीछे आती है। हमारी गाड़ी है, हमने अपने लिए की, हम उसमें बैठ के और हमें आ जाए बाजी, अंदर आ जाए। खैरियत है बाजी, बैठिए आप। आ जाए बाजी। ये जो वैक्सीन है, ये हमारी रोज जो हमारा हॉस्पिटल है वहाँ होती है, हम फिर वहाँ से और हम लेकर आते हैं। सुपरवाइजर की हैसियत तमाम जो वर्कर्स हैं हमारे पोलियो में काम करने वाले, मैं उनको सारा लॉजिस्टिक का तमाम यानी कि सामान को मुहैया करती हूँ। उनको यहाँ तक के पॉइंट पे बैठने का भी मैं बताती हूँ कि इधर बैठे, क्योंकि इधर रश ज्यादा है, इधर ज्यादा काम अच्छे तरीके के साथ फ्रंट पे हो सकेगा।
Historically, the highest number of cases has always been along the Pakistan-Afghanistan border in both countries.
There seems to be tremendous progress, very positive development this year. We have seen the last WPV1 case in both the countries in January. Since then, there's no child who has been paralyzed with wild polio virus in both of these countries, which is unforeseen, unprecedented. So we have to have a cautious optimism at this stage.
मेन ऑर्डर है यहाँ पे ये वैक्सीन, पोलियो वैक्सीन करना इसलिए जरूरी है क्योंकि यहाँ से लोग आते भी हैं और जाते भी हैं। इनका आना जाना लगा रहता है, खुशी गम में, यानी कि अक्सर लोगों के रिश्तेदार पाकिस्तान में होते हैं, बास के अफगानिस्तान में, तो इनका तो हर वक्त का आना जाना है।
So we have a cross-border vaccination strategy, which is between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And so the program has identified all these border crossing points, has deployed cross-border vaccination team from both the sides, from Pakistan side as well as Afghanistan side.
हम अपने पाकिस्तान से प्यार करते हैं क्योंकि अगर खवातीन फ्रंट लाइन पे काम नहीं करेंगी तो ये जो खवातीन है ये हमसे मिस हो जाएंगी। यहाँ पे आसपास हमारे बहुत से सिपाही होते हैं जिसकी वजह से हम उन्हें देख के खुद को महफूज साबित करते हैं और हमें पता है कि हम लोग यहाँ पे महफूज हैं। अगर हम पहले से रोकथाम ना करें तो जब बच्चे मजदूर हो जाएंगे, हमारे बच्चे काम नहीं करेंगे, तो फिर तो वो मुल्क तरक्की कभी भी नहीं कर सकता।
The virus doesn't know where the Pakistan finishes and where the Afghanistan starts. For Pakistan and Afghanistan, the whole area is the same for the virus. So we have to work together. We have to make sure that we synergize on the vaccination of children which are coming from the other sides. We are focusing on vaccinating the moving population. There is money where it starts to move. The idea is that all the partners in the government, all of them sit as a one team under one roof at one place.
तमाम पार्टनर्स जो हैं इकट्ठे होते हैं और डेली 2 आवर्स की मीटिंग होती है। तो वहाँ रोटरी इंटरनेशनल की कंट्रीब्यूशन, रोटरी इंटरनेशनल की एज पोलियो के लिए क्या क्या एफर्ट्स हैं, तो मैं वो अपने तमाम एक्सपीरियंसेस उनसे शेयर करती थी।
This GPI strategy, it has been developed with the intensive consultation across the partners, with the countries, with the different stakeholders.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम, इधर कोई बच्चा रहता है पोलियो वाला?
It has a lot of emphasis on community engagement, which is one important component
And we have seen that in some parts of these two endemic countries, vaccine acceptance has become one of the key issues.
लेडी हेल्थ वर्कर की रीच घर तक होती है और वो खवातीन से डायरेक्ट उनकी कम्युनिकेशन होती है, उसका उनके साथ लाइजॉन डेवलप हो चुका है, जिसकी वजह से पूरी फैमिली उस पर ट्रस्ट करती है।
It is important for us to achieve polio eradication goal by not just reaching with the polio doses through supplementary immunization activities, but also playing a catalytic role to enhance broader health services.
We go to those people not only for the polio drops, but we go to them with other services. We are also making health camps in those areas where there is higher number of refusals.
मेरी इनर सेटिस्फेक्शन मुझे हुई है आज का हेल्थ कैंप करके कि मैंने उस कम्युनिटी को एड्रेस किया जो कि 70% अफगान कम्युनिटी थी, 20% जो है वो पाकिस्तान में थी। जब आप किसी इलाके में जाके कम्युनिटी को सर्विसेज देते हैं तो वो कहते हैं कि ये तो हमारे घर आके हमें हमारी हेल्थ के बारे में आके बता रहे हैं। जब आप उनके घर पे जाते हैं तो ये हमारी वैल्यूज हैं, वो रिस्पेक्ट देते हैं, वो हमारी बात गौर से सुनते हैं और फिर वो कहते हैं कि ये तो हमारी बेहतरी के लिए है। अब तुम बहुत क्लोज हैं। पाकिस्तान और अफगानिस्तान में अब एक एक केस है। ये एक बहुत बड़ी अचीवमेंट है कि एक ख्वाब पूरा होने जा रहा है हम रोटेरियंस का।
It is now my pleasure to introduce President Rene Butcher of the Rotary Club of Barbados-West to deliver his remarks. President Rene.
Right. As you've seen from the video, the last frontier in the battle against polio remains Afghanistan and Pakistan. Now, why Afghanistan and Pakistan? These two countries face certain unique challenges. Stated broadly, these challenges include political insecurity, highly mobile populations, difficult terrain, and in some instances, vaccine refusal and misinformation. With sufficient resources, the commitment of national governments, and innovations that improve access to remote areas, we are optimistic that we can eliminate polio in these two countries. In Afghanistan in particular, certain political elements have impacted negatively on the polio eradication progress, leading to 3.4 million children being missed on a national immunization day. The increased influence of these elements resulted in a period in April 2019 where vaccinations were banned for a period of 5 months, exposing nearly 10 million children to the polio virus. Similarly, the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted polio campaigns and other essential health services for a period of over 4 months, creating additional immunity gaps, which have resulted in an increase in polio cases in Afghanistan in particular. For Afghanistan to eradicate polio for good, all children must be vaccinated. And while there's an increased community awareness on the importance of polio vaccination, efforts are still needed to dispel myths around the vaccine and to convince families who are afraid of immunization. As you've heard, Rotary is central in this fight, but it is not alone in this regard. While we engage in a variety of global public health initiatives, we don't have the expertise of the World Health Organization or UNICEF, or the funds that are available to foundations such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is where the Global Polio Eradication Initiative plays a part. All these organizations combine their efforts with the singular focus of ending polio now. And right now, that focus is on Afghanistan and Pakistan. Efforts in the last year, as you've heard, have begun to bear fruit, extraordinarily so. In many high-risk and inaccessible districts in Kandahar and Helmand and Uruzgan in the southern region of Afghanistan, populations have been cut off, unfortunately, from basic essential services. A recent discussions with the Taliban have presented an opportunity to deliver polio vaccines through an integrated approach. In response, UNICEF has opened sub-offices in Helmand, Uruzgan provinces, where they've been able to strategically deliver life-saving, child-focused interventions, which include primary healthcare, nutrition, maternal and newborn child health education, water, hygiene, and sanitation services. Since March 2020, after the polio campaigns were disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic, the program responded promptly using the existing large network of 4,500 social mobilizers and media networks to engage the communities with COVID-19 prevention messages at national and household levels. Working through our partners and UNICEF in particular, Rotary aims to improve polio vaccination in the high-risk areas of Afghanistan in particular, through expanding access to quality basic health services, improving access to safe drinking water in schools and health facilities and hygiene promotion, enhancing community-based education, especially for girls, and promoting vaccination using an education network, encouraging polio vaccination by the distribution of promotional materials, continuing to lead the dialogue on access, program service implementation, and monitoring effectiveness in certain areas. As a result of our efforts, as you've heard, the instances of the wild polio virus have been reduced to 2 reported cases. The finish line is in sight, and our efforts to end polio now will shortly be successful. Thank you.
Each year, as we celebrate our strides toward a polio-free world, Rotary members and clubs organize events and fundraisers, a collective effort that motivates and moves us to action.
세계 성황의 날 기념 행사로 코로나 시대에 맞춰서 비대면으로 개인 또는 소규모로 할 수 있는 프로그램을 기획했습니다. 새로운 초청분야에 환경 분야 일환으로 그러면서 그 쓰레기를 줍는 프로그램으로 프로틴과
This is a project that we've been involved with for 12 years, 25 to 35 farmers dedicating the proceeds from 1 acre of corn, whose 12 years we've raised over $150,000.
We created awareness, illuminating historical buildings with the End Polio Now logo. The lighting is combined with a publicity campaign and significant fundraising events.
私たちは世界ポリオデートレインジャックプロジェクトを立ち上げ、東京都内の電車広告をジャックして10月18日から24日までの1週間、エンドポリオナウの広告を出します。
Hemos organizado la Rotary Polio Race. Invitamos a todos los rotarios del mundo a unirse a nuestro reto del 16 al 24 de octubre. Juntos vamos a celebrar la Semana Mundial contra la Polio.
For World Polio Day 2021, my Rotary Club will be illuminating Hopeton House, one of the iconic stately homes close to our town. And that aids our fundraising effort throughout all the rest of the year.
Onde a gente convida médicos, pacientes e celebridades para falarem do sentimento e quão importante é se manter engajado contra essa terrível doença.
We are planning to distribute 500 wheelchairs to people living with disabilities, and we are prepared to fundraise up to a tune of $12,000 US.
We're leading Moves for Polio.
30 clubs to raise $100,000.
July 1st to World Polio Day, October 24th. We're leading for polio.
And you can too.
Come join us as we celebrate Rotary's efforts to end polio now.
This live stream event will provide updates on Rotary's latest efforts to eradicate polio.
Thank you to Rotary members and supporters for your tireless efforts. Rene.
It is now my further pleasure to introduce President George Connolly from the Rotary Club of Barbados-South to deliver his remarks. President George.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. As you just saw in that last clip, the Rotary clubs around the world host events annually to fund their polio campaigns. There's a saying out of Ghana that money is not the medicine against death. However, in this particular instance, money is the money against death. On the 29th of September, 79, when Rotary volunteers administered drops of polio vaccine to children at the health center in the Philippines. And then the president of Rotary, the then president, Mr. James Bomar, put the first drops into a child's mouth. He ceremonially launched the Philippine effort for the immunization of polio. And Rotary's first Triple H program, Health, Hunger, and Humanity, that grant project got underway. Bomar and the country's health minister, a chap, Mr. Enrique Garcia, they had agreed to commit to Rotary International and the government of the Philippines to a joint venture multi-year project to immunize about 6 million children against polio at a cost of $760,000 at the time. In 1985, when Rotary International launched Polio Plus program, which President Robbins spoke to earlier, this is the largest internationally coordinated private sector support for a public health initiative with a fundraising target of $120 million. Out of that $120 million, Rotary has committed to raising $50 million a year as a baseline figure for polio eradication. As President Rene had said, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is pledged to match that 2-for-1 for a total of $150 million each year. And these funds represent the much needed operational support, for medical workers, lab equipment, and educational materials. Government corporations and private donors all play a role in the function. So out of this $50 million that Rotary has to get, cash of $35 million comes from us, all the clubs in the world. Our donations must equal to a minimum of $35 million. There's another bucket for major gifts of $4 million, district designated funds of $10 million, a World Fund match, and others raised the next 5 to bring us to the $50 million. And then we have the $100 million coming from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This year, Rotary has a program for a $200 million challenge. And now I'm going to go through some of there's over 60 events that Rotary groups across the world use to raise funds. I selected a top 10. I'm going to share the link with you later, where you can go through all the events and see which is best for you. But I've selected the top 10 that I'm going to go through that we can consider here in Barbados. One of them, the Rotary Club of Barbados has already done, calling it a virtual big name speaker event, all online, where you sell tickets for attendance. Another thing that we could look at, and this is done in Des Moines, is a virtual wine fest, where wine or beer is delivered to the homes, and you basically have a party, a wine and cheese party in a virtual environment. Then wine and beer tasting. You can see where I'm going with this trend. Another thing that we can look at is flag subscription. Rotary International flags, full size, like a national flag, where anyone who wants an RI flag can have one for a price. Virtual art shows with partners like Art Splash, who we've spoken to. Raffle valets for your cards. Virtual karaoke for all the talent that we have across the membership. Virtual trivia contests like Family Feud or any other type of contest that you can have similarly. Piggy bank for polio. And this is where members donate funds for a piggy bank where we teach children how to save. And then last but by no means least in my top 10, virtual Scrabble or Dominoes tournament. Now, all of these combined, one of the things that we're trying to do, each member, outside of the usual funds given to Rotary, we'd like $150 going towards the polio fund for each member. And it could be done in increments or it could be done in one shot, but additional $150 to meet the $200 million challenge. And if you're having a birthday, a Christmas event, special occasions, an anniversary, tell your friends, donate money to the polio fund rather than giving you a gift. And this is another initiative that we can take a look at. So I want us to think about that. I want us to make sure that we make a huge difference, especially from the gubernatorial side, in terms of how we fund Rotary's International Polio End Polio campaign. Thank you.
As long as the disease remains a threat, you will stay committed to end polio forever.
As you've seen in this year's World Polio Day program, countless Rotary members are donating their expertise, time, and money to make polio a disease of the past. The work we've accomplished collectively is exceptional. Together with our partners, we've immunized nearly 3 billion children and prevented more than 19 million cases of polio. Today, the wild polio virus is contained in just 2 countries, and circulation of the wild virus is lower than ever. While this is encouraging, the job isn't done. It will require our collective energy to wipe out wild polio in Pakistan and Afghanistan and overcome the remaining challenges. We must use new strategies and every available vaccine to tackle vaccine-derived polio. And we need to ensure that polio-free countries stay polio-free. Finally, we can harness the power of vaccines to bring this journey to an end so that the infrastructure we built can continue to keep children safe against other vaccine-preventable diseases. Meeting these challenges starts with you, because this effort started with you, and this effort will end with you and every single one of our 1.4 million Rotary and Rotaract members working together to eradicate polio. On behalf of the Rotary Foundation trustees and Rotary's International Polio Plus Committee, I am asking for your help. Whether you're a longtime donor, considering a gift for the first time, or you haven't donated in a few years, the Polio Plus program needs your support. We must raise $50 million each year so we can finish the fight we started. Every dollar you donate will be matched 2 to 1 by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which triples your impact. We will eradicate polio. We need to aim high, dream big, and give freely. Please consider making a donation this year at www.endpolio.org. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, and it's my pleasure again to introduce District Rotaract Representative Mario Boyce, who will speak and deliver remarks on behalf of the Rotaract Clubs of Barbados. DRR Mario.
Good evening, PDG David, PDG Sonia, Rotary Presidents, Rotarians, and Rotaractors. This World Polio Day, celebrating the work conducted in the last 4+ decades, that brings us the closest we as a Rotary family have ever been to our outstanding goal, of ending polio now. I find myself extremely proud to be a part of this family. The End Polio Now campaign has been extremely successful in not only eradicating polio, bringing us as close as we've ever been, but in showing how vaccines work. I'm sure you can all see where I'm going with this and the correlation to the COVID-19 pandemic and vaccine. The excellent work done by Rotary and administering the polio vaccine reassures many a person and community worldwide. I experienced that just today as we as Rotarians and Rotaractors turned out in our numbers to assist with the vaccination program at the Emerald City Car Park. I want to implore us as a Rotary family to keep up the good work and keep up the good fight, supporting the End Polio Now vaccine, as said by everyone here on this call this evening. As DRR for District 73, I'll be imploring all Rotaractors to raise funds, not only to support the foundation, the Rotary Foundation, but direct funds as well, directly towards the End Polio Now campaigns. They have been doing it for many years, and I think that this is something that we can never give up. Thank you.
Thank you, DRR Mario. Let's now invite Past President Peter Williams, the Chair of the Joint Planning Committee from the Barbados Rotary and Rotaract Clubs. Past President Peter.
Good evening, and thank you to all Rotarians and Rotaractors for joining us for this event to mark World Polio Day 2021. A very special thank you to DG Sonia and to all the presidents of our Rotary and Rotaract clubs for their messages. Indeed, it is a time for us to reflect that there are still children in the world who live daily with the paralyzing effects of polio, and children who are vulnerable to this devastating disease. We must continue our work to support those who are on the front line in the battle until polio is eradicated from our world. As Rotarians, we have to share our confidence in vaccines, remove the fear of vaccines within our communities. And I wish to extend a special thanks to the Joint Planning Committee from all the clubs and to all those who helped with the COVID-19 vaccination pop-up today at Emerald City, which was organized at the suggestions of our committee member, Graham Bell, and in cooperation with our own PP Andrew Bino and Major David Clark at the Ministry of Health. Thank you everyone for joining us this evening again, and have a blessed one. Thank you.
Hello, my dear fellow Rotarians. As we mark World Polio Day 2021, we can look back at this journey with great satisfaction. We have eradicated the wild polio virus from every continent except one. We have succeeded in ending polio in the most populous nations in the world, including my home country of India. We've raised awareness and created a global infrastructure through our partners and have vaccinated the world and left behind public health resources that will be vital for fighting infectious diseases for generations to come. We've noted how close we are. We have talked about entering the last mile, but now it is time to bring this historic project to a dramatic conclusion. With just 2 countries left in the world, we have never been more close to eradicate polio. We have it within our grasp to identify and reach those still at risk of being infected with this terrible virus and protecting their childhood and their lives. This is our moment, our turning point. If we give up now, we could see polio return all across the world. If these past 2 years have taught us anything, it is that viruses will continue to evolve and adapt if we allowed these to fester on their own. We have the power and the ability to bring the number of polio cases to 0. Rotary will enter the history books for this accomplishment, and you will prove forever that through Rotary we serve to change lives. So please donate your money, donate your time, and do not stop sharing this important story with everyone you know. We will end polio forever. We will do it to honor the lives of the polio workers who have given up their lives in the line of duty as polio vaccinators. We will do it for the future of all the children of this world, and we will do it now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. This is the end of another historic event, and we thank everyone for participating. Please feel free to stay for the fellowship.